There you go.
Good morning, my name is Eddins, and today I'm going to be talking about Hammurabi's code. So Hammurabi was in Mesopotamia, which present day it's the land is Iraq and Syria, or Iran. Mesopotamia is known as the first human civilization according to O'Reilly, who wrote the history book, and it was largely controlled by Assyrians and Babylonians. Hammurabi was a part of the Babylonians, and it's where the first form of writing is known to occur, which is called cuneiform, and that happened in 400,000 to 300,000 BCE. Hammurabi, he was the king of Babylon from 1792 to 1750 BCE. He was the sixth king, so he was king for about 42 years until his death, and in about his 30th year he began to expand Babylon until he controlled all of Mesopotamia. So his law code, which is what he's famous for, it consists of 282 laws. It was written in stone, which is important because although it wasn't the first law code that was written in stone, it's like kind of the more popular one, first like popular one that was, so it kind of like set a precedent and civilizations and dynasties started following that lead. And then it was written in if-then style, so it says like if you commit this crime, then you get this punishment. And he kind of composed it from similar law codes in Mesopotamia. So society was divided into three sets of people. There was the free persons who had the highest value, kind of like upper class, the commoners who were middle class, and then the slaves who were of the lowest value. And this was important because it kind of sets how they got punished depending on what class they were in. So for the laws, it's just kind of like three examples of sections in it. There was a section on accidental injury, and so according to Richardson, who wrote Hammurabi Law Code, Law 196 says if man destroys the sight of someone, then he loses his own sight. If you kick out the tooth of a colleague, you should have your tooth knocked out as well. And then there was about 10 laws on physicians, like the doctors at that time. So if you got a successful operation, you were rewarded with shekels of silver. If you failed an operation on a free man, you got your hand cut off. Failed it on a commoner, you have to provide that commoner with a slave. And if you mess up the operation of a slave, you just have to give up half of the silver. And then there were also some laws on the barbers of the time. If you shave away the mark of if they would shave away the mark of a slave, your hand got cut off. And then if you were tricked by somebody into shaving the mark of a slave, then you were that person that tricked you had to get hung in the doorway of where the barber shaved the slave mark. And this was all according to Richardson. So then the punishments, there was the eye for an eye, which is the most famous part of it. It's what everybody knows. It's like you remove somebody's sight, you lose your sight. And then there was the fines, which so the eye for an eye, it's if a free person commits a crime on a free person, and then if a free person were to commit a crime on a slave, they would just have to pay a fine rather than have to deal with the gruesome eye for an eye punishment that everybody knows about. So the law code was also pretty progressive. According to Andrews, it was kind of like the first form of minimum wage. So there was laws about for the physicians, how if they were to have a successful operation, they were rewarded with a certain amount of silvers depending on who the operation was on. So that was kind of like a minimum wage. It had that for other professions as well. And then divorce, it was kind of like giving the woman the first a little bit of power. They really didn't have much, but wife could divorce the husband if cruelty was happening to her, and then she most of the time got silver if her husband left her, paid in like a certain amount of silver, and in certain cases they got land as well. And that was just kind of stepping stone to get to more equal rights where we're at today. And then it was like they also started to outlaw incest. So if a son and mother were caught committing incest, then they were both burned to death, so it was just a step to get rid of it completely. So Hammurabi died in 1750, and his law, or the Babylon's empire didn't fall until 1595, so it kind of kept falling power until eventually got rid of. Even when Hammurabi died, his law code still took place in Babylon, and then he was just very influential with his law code and writing down his law, which kind of set precedent for other civilizations. Thank you.
Any questions for Zach? Okay, thank you.